All right, guys, we got another one in the chamber. And this one is talking about straight from my therapy session. So let's check this one out.
So today the therapist, she said something and it blew my mind. Maybe everybody knew this, but I was like, what? So she was like, Karen, it's not your job to fix Michael. Because I'm like, when he's sad, when he's depressed, he doesn't tell me. Like, he just sits in his sadness. And she's like, he's a grown man. If he needs your support, he'll come to you. And I'm like, no, when I'm sad, I need him to be trying to fix it. I need him to be like, what's wrong? How can I help? Yada, yada, yada. And she was like, no, you're two grown people. Like, you when you have false expectations, then you're going to get disappointed.
That's real shit right there. If you have false expectations. Yeah, man. And that's just real talk. I mean, if I had an issue, I'm going to go and let her know. Like most men, we internalize a lot of our shit. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a good thing. But if it gets bad enough, I will definitely go to her and let her know. And vice versa. You know what I mean? One good thing I can say about my wife personally is that when it comes to, a typical woman in a lot of things, she's not needy in an emotional sense. Okay. Because I'm not very good at, if I had to give myself one flaw, I would say I'm not a very emotional individual per se. I was told that my whole life that, I wasn't that emotional. I could be more emotional. Okay. And that's just most men. I think that's something that we struggle with for the most part, if I'm being honest. But anyway, let's continue.
And I'm like, wait, it's not his job to fix me when I'm sad? And she's like, no. And I'm like, ooh, child. Like, what? I've been mad at him for nothing? But and I have been in marriage counseling for the last, about 3 months. And it started out really, really rocky. It was touch and go. We couldn't stand the sight of each other. We were just passing ships in the night. And I was like, listen, like, this ain't it. If you want your husband to treat you like a queen, you have to treat him like a king.
I mean, that's the realest shit she ever wrote right there. That is the realest shit she ever wrote. You get what you put out, guys. I mean, that's just as simple as that. You get what you put out. If you're coming home to a wife who is just, got an attitude, always complaining and all those things, guys, you're going to get that back. Okay. It's what it is. It is what it is. And sometimes to women, if you see that your husband is dealing with something and he's not in the right mood or mindset, there's certain ways you can go about that. Okay. To circumvent that. And I think that's what she's trying to get at. So let's continue.
And I know it's easier said than done, but what you put out is what you receive. But today we turned a corner, and over the last, I would say the last 3 sessions have really, really been like a shift in how we feel about each other, a shift in how we treat each other. Basically, you have to think about this. You and your husband are 2 flawed individuals that are trying to connect, right? So you're not going to get it right. You're not going to be perfect. There's going to be mistakes made. But if you both have the same goal of let's try to work it out, then I would definitely advise you get into some counseling and learn how to communicate with each other.
That is the most important thing in this video. If I'm being honest, guys, this is something I've been talking about in so many different videos or scenarios, guys, when it comes to marriage. And this is one thing that I think a lot of people who are married don't even see. And that's what surprises me the most. This is something that they've committed themselves to for life, but they don't know this thing here. The one thing that could save or that would save their marriage if situations come to arise. And that's what I don't understand, guys. I'm having a hard time understanding why people are marrying and they don't know this cardinal rule. And this is why people can't stay married. Okay. And she said another thing that's very important here is therapy. All right. She said therapy has helped them. All right. I have friends who are actually in therapy, and it has helped them tremendously as well. Okay. Sometimes letting other people hear your thoughts and situations helps, guys, because you can get a different outlook. You can get a different perspective on things. And you're talking to somebody, who is coming into all this new. All right. Sometimes other people telling you something rather than your significant other telling you is something you need to hear. And sometimes it doesn't even process until someone else tells you that. Okay, so therapy is definitely something highly recommended for a lot of people, especially in the Black community, who are married and don't do that because they think that, that can't work or that can't help them. And that's a stigma in the Black community as far as marriage is concerned in therapy for a lot of people, sad to say. But this is something that is truly needed. And this is something that if somebody is getting a divorce or planning on getting separated, right? And if you haven't done this and you haven't went this route, then you're basically playing yourself short. You're playing your marriage short. You haven't done everything in your power to fix this, whatever it is, something that you can get past, because that's all it is when you're married and you're having a situation or you're having something you feel you can't get past. It's just something that is in the road, and you have to figure out how to get past it. And eventually it will come a time where you will get past it. But most people don't take that time, okay, to get down the road. They stop right there, and that's where it ends. Okay, that's what I'm saying here. That's what she's trying to explain. And she's being transparent as far as telling you that there were issues in the relationship, guys. And they took it upon themselves to go to counseling to try to see or seek out another resolution. And in doing that, that has paid dividends in their relationship. And this is something that more couples should do or take into consideration, guys. There's no excuses now. I mean, you can do all this from home if you like. You don't have to go and sit in anyone's office. So it's really very, very easy to do now. And there's no excuse to say, well, I can't do it, or I'm just not willing to do that. So that's what it is. And let's see what else she has to say.
So to sum it up is what you put out is what you get back. I know I said in a previous video about how I felt like he was happier to see the dog than me. And she was like, how does the dog greet him when he comes home? How does the dog, what is the dog's energy? And so not that I'm wagging my tail when I see my husband and like, hi, Michael. But in my mind, I'm just like, hi, Michael. How was work? How was your meeting? I'm just more pleasant. He's met with a pleasant wife. And listen, you guys, it's the energy you put out is the energy you get. Even when you don't have it to put out, you have to make the shift because your husband will match your energy.
That is very crucial. That is very important, guys, because just like in everything else in life, you're not going to feel like doing everything all the time. Sometimes I don't feel like making content, even though I like doing it. There are days where I don't feel like doing it, right? But I still do it. Okay. And that's just part of the game. Same thing with work. We've all been there. Okay. There's plenty of times where we don't feel like going to work, right? But we do it because we just have to. Shit's not going to get done without it. So that's called sacrificing. That's all that is. Everybody has sacrificed something. Okay. There's been a time where you didn't want to work and you had to, or go to school and you did. All right. Whatever it may have been, you've done it before. So why not do it in your marriage? Why can't people do it in their relationships? That's what I don't seem to understand. And it baffles the mind, because if you can do it in any other scenario, you can definitely do it in your own marriage, something you committed to, something you've made children with in a lot of cases. So I don't know why I'm still having this conversation. Okay, let's continue and finish this one up.
I mean, at the beginning of this, you guys, I was just thinking about ways to just be done. I love this man. I've been with him for years, but I did not like his ass. I couldn't stand him. And it's like men and women are wired differently, and you have to remember that. So get the tools to communicate effectively and save your marriage if you can.
Realer shit has never been wrote. And that's what I'm saying. We're different. We're different creatures, guys. And if a woman can understand that, because a man definitely understands that. Okay. Men know that women are definitely cut from a different cloth. And we know that there are some things that come with you. Okay. These women that we have to deal with. Okay. But it's a very hard situation. And you find way more women who find it harder to understand how simple men are. And they can accept the fact that that is the case. All right. And it's just that simple. As long as they acknowledge that we're different and we have different means of communicating and different means of just doing things in general, guys, that goes a long way in a relationship. It really, really does. And it can solve a lot of things. All right. Because if a woman understands what a man does and how simple he is and the things that he likes, I mean, that's half the battle right there. That is half the battle. OK, so with that being said, I'm going to bow gracefully. I want to thank everybody for watching the video. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so, guys. I do content all the time on this channel and I'm building this community. So without further ado, guys, I will see you in the next video.